Oh, what's up, peeps? Welcome to the show. Happy Friday or whatever day you're tuning in on this. It's Dr. Living Good. Time to get into a training. And today we are kicking off the Liver Cleanse Challenge month number 2. It might be your first one, could be your second one going in. It is our Living Good Daily Lifestyle, our monthly challenges, and we're focusing in on taking care of that liver, the fastest growing condition in the world. We're gonna give the number 1 fastest way to reverse liver and kidney damage coming up in just a moment. Welcome in, everybody. Good morning to you. Hey, Jackie. Hey there, Linda. Welcome in. Thanks for saying hi. We're going to jump into a live training in just a moment, and then I'm going to tee you up with the specifics to make sure this is your unofficial start date. I like to get going a couple days early, right? We're officially kicking off on Monday, but in a matter of 2 to 4 weeks, you could be reducing the fat buildup, the toxicity, the damage in your livers by up to, you only have one, but we all collectively have livers, 43.8%, taking a ton of pressure off your other main filter, that is your kidney. You could be focusing on the kidney this time. We're gonna talk about how to kick that off, how to prep, and then get ready to get going on Monday. The results of the last crew have been incredible. We're about to kick off our next challenge. Excited to do it with you here today. Welcome in. Say good morning. Glorious. Hello, Marcella. Maryland's in the house. Hey, Karen from Arizona. Glenda from Texas. California's here. SoCal. New York, Connecticut. Rainy Iowa, Delane. Welcome in. Jacksonville, Florida. Geraldine, welcome in. Raleigh, North Carolina. How you doing, Jerry Jones? Good to see you. Missouri, Sherry. Hey there. What's going on over on YouTube? Good morning to you, Walter. Hey, Wendy in Arizona. Mary from Alberta. Great to have you. Georgia in the house, says Miss Betty over there. All right, I'm excited for this one. We got a kickoff coming here. We are just days away from the start of the next challenge. I'm going to challenge you to get into it. I'm going to challenge you with what's going to go into your body and on your plate. The month of February, what a perfect month to execute this. It's a nice 28-day window here that's coming for you to just chip away. By the time you hit March, spring breakish time, we've made some huge progress on the weight, on the scale, on the liver, on the kidneys, the toxicity in the body. We're releasing a lot of that. I'm going to jump into the training. Thanks for saying good morning to me. I'm going to dive in. Got a direct training. I think this is very shareable for you, especially how many of you actually were a part of the masterclass that we did last week? You caught day 1, 2, or 3, or you caught some replays? Who was a part of that? And then, so give me a 1, 2, or all 3 days that you were able to catch. 1, 2, or 3. 1, 2, or 3 in the chat. And then if you're in the next crew, put a 65 in the comment section. 65, like you're already in to this next challenge that's starting Monday. Lots of you, 2 to 3 days. Wow. Impressive. 1, still, you got going in the right direction. Look at how many people are starting this challenge. If you're not part of it, I will show you how. There is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, thousands of people that will be kicking off to take care of their livers, take care of their kidneys. I want to give you the skinny, see what I did there? On this, here in a couple minutes of training, I'm going to boil this thing down. If you missed part of the masterclass, or I'm going to refocus you on what you did here, but we only really do 5 to 10% of what we hear. I want to hit a 12-hour masterclass in 20 minutes. That's what's going down right now. This is the super expressed in the world of short videos. I want to hit that. So many of you catching the masterclass and kicking off Crew 65, the challenge. There's a link there if you want to join the challenge. Now, if you are already a lifestyle member and you're gearing up to just jump into the next group, Crew 65, it's time to go over there and join that. There is a link there for you to reload to add the liver cleanse or the other cleanses to help out your body to execute during this time. If you've never joined the liver cleanse or you never joined the challenge and you want to be part of this cleanse challenge, there's a cleanse challenge link right there. Coaches will post up for you as well. So Let's hit this one more time. Make sure you got it. This is 6 months of research, 12 hours of recording in 20 minutes. Dive into this training. Should we go? Say go. Let's do this. Flipping over, peeps. Here we go. I want to touch on the number one fastest way to reverse liver and kidney damage and give you what took me 6 months to research, to go through all the PubMed studies, 12 hours. One second. I got to start that over, peeps. This is live. Here we go. You got to hit the record button. Number one fastest way to reverse liver and kidney damage in a very quick, up to 2 week amount of time. I want to give you what took me 6 months to research, go through the PubMed research and boil down. 12 hours to teach in a masterclass that I taught to tens of thousands of people in 20 minutes. Put us on the clock. Here we go. The filters of your body is the fastest growing problem in the world. Your filters are remarkable. Your kidneys filter your blood 12 times per hour. They isolate and they remove the waste and the toxins from the bloodstream, removing it into the urine. There's a lot of pressure on those two little beans. The liver filters hundreds of gallons of blood and neutralizes its job. Every toxin inside of your digestive tract and inside of your system has to neutralize, nullify, and eliminate those toxins inside of your body. Basically, these are the hardest working organs inside of you. The fastest growing conditions are off the backs of this. So I took the liberty to start attacking this because millions, hundreds of millions, under the sound of my voice, over the next 10 to 12 years, which you're going to see in a minute, are going to end up with problems with one of those two organs. In fact, you already have it. Major warning signs. Check out the video on that to understand if you have the warning signs. So I took 30,000 people through a masterclass, 12 hours of recording, shredding everything you would want to know about healing the liver and the kidneys fast. I want to give this to you in 20 minutes and really boil this down. And then there are tens of thousands of people that are not only taking what I'm going to teach you in the next 20 minutes, they're implementing it into their life, and you're going to see the results in a moment of how many people have had their life changed from this and from these methods. Now, why? Why is this so important? Because of our sick care system. My dad experienced it, and I experienced it firsthand. I got the phone call you don't want to get. 911 was my wake-up call when my dad lost his health. When you lose your health, you lose everything. Couldn't bike, couldn't work, couldn't fish, couldn't do anything with his family, couldn't make money for the family, couldn't live his purpose. You're no good to your family or God or your purpose if you're sick or dead. You're very little value at that point. So dad gets sick, he goes into the sick care model, he gets 15 medications, multiple surgeries, and ends up with a pile of medical bills and the same old rigmarole every single doctor's visit. He needed health. We needed a healthcare system. But that's what opened my eyes to the devastation of what's going on in our country right now. At the top of my head, let's just go through the fact that the US ranks 30th out of 34th in the world in years of potential life loss. We should be living longer because of our resources. 6 out of 10 Americans, though, have a chronic disease. The fastest growing of those is problem with the liver. As many as 5 out of 6 Americans are going to get heart disease or cancer in their lifetime. And one of the rapidly growing, deteriorating, just scary ones that my grandmother had, 6.7 million Americans have Alzheimer's disease, also known as type 3 diabetes. We're going to talk about it. It doubled in the last 2 decades. 225 million Americans have mental health issues that they're taking drugs for, prescription. Some 65 million people with mental disorders. That's 1 out of 5. And those drugs have some serious damage, and guess who has to deal with it? Your liver and your kidneys. In the past 20 years, obesity has doubled. It's quadrupled for kids. That has nothing to do with genetics. 390 million people worldwide are being diagnosed as overweight and are at serious risk because of that, of cardiovascular disease. And in 2022, 37 million people at that point, children under the age of 18, under the age of 5, were overweight already because of what I'm going to show you in a moment. We're 54th in the world in infant mortality rate, which means you could go live in 53 other countries and have a baby and it would be safer. Johns Hopkins University ranks us as a country out of 37 of the top industrialized nations as 37th in overall health. Autism wasn't even a thing hardly when I was growing up. Now it's 1 in 36 kids. And for the first time in history, this generation, our kids, are going to live a shorter lifespan than us. The grandparents are going to live longer than the kids will. My kids will live shorter lives than me unless we do something about it. Well, let's go 12 hours of masterclasses in 20 minutes. And I'm not talking about just fluffy stuff. Look at this. I'm talking about hundreds and hundreds of people going through. You're looking at reviews of this masterclass, radically changing the lives of so many people that sat and went through it. I want to give it to you in just a couple of minutes here because I think I can give you the highlights and you can understand and follow with it. They go on and on and on. Pages of them. Why are we in this situation? We're spending more than every other country. We're spending almost $8,000 alone. If you just did Ozempic, it would cost you $7,200. That's one of those GLP weight loss drugs that's hitting the market as all the craze. $7,200 a year. We spend $8,000 per person per year, but look at our life expectancy. We're in the mid-range. Why? I think one of the biggest culprits is the crap that we're putting in our bodies. Remember that word? Normally I don't use any form of a type of swear word, but crap is the best way to define it, as I'm about to show you, because it makes me mad that you're even allowed to eat this stuff. In fact, most other countries like Canada and the UK don't allow you to eat this stuff. But why do they do it? Because a Mountain Dew looks more appetizing when you put bright colors in it. And so you'll buy it. But a lot of those ingredients like yellow 5 and brominated vegetable oils are not allowed in the UK, for example. It's also cheaper to make when we use these crap ingredients. Doritos, look at the list of how much longer the natural and artificial ingredients are versus what is sold in the UK. When you look at a French fry, they're allowed to put so many more preservatives and soybean oils and hydrogenated oils that are not allowed in other countries. This crap is killing us. High fructose corn syrup is not used in these other countries. Do you know what has to process fructose? Your liver. It's the only place it can be broken down. So when you eat this stuff, this is asking, just because of the Heinz company and ketchup, destroying your liver. When you look at Frosted Flakes, look at all the extra ingredients in synthetic vitamins. Yes, vitamins can be very crap for you, not healthy, because no one's paying attention to the quality. And then finally, Quaker Oats doesn't even add strawberries to their strawberries and cream. They use apples that are dyed and a whole bunch of extra synthetic ingredients compared to others. There are 10,000 ingredients in the US food supply. How do I know this? I literally went through the whole database. Wow, did that take me a long time. 15 hours to do that. You're going to get a summary of the top ones that you should absolutely be avoiding for yourself, for your kids, and for your family members. So if you hadn't hit share or passed this video along, now would be a really good time, because 10,000 ingredients, and I went through every one to identify, is it approved? Would I give it to my children? Then if I don't know what it is, which a lot of them I didn't, that's why it took me so dang long, I looked at it and I want to give you the highlights of the worst ones that are destroying your liver and your kidney. And I'm talking this is impacting our kids, our grandkids. So pass this thing along. Here's the highlights. What it's doing to the body is not only putting weight on the outside where the white is, that's fat. We don't like that. We don't like the look of it. So we'll go to extreme extents to inject a drug to try to get that weight off. But does that make us healthier? Well, when you look at the picture on the right, this person doesn't have all that whiteness. But the one on the left, what I'm concerned about is does the whiteness disappear from the liver? Does it disappear from the kidneys and the digestive tract? Because fat on the outside is bad, but fat around the organs is worse. That's deadly visceral fat. That's the enemy here, friends. And the liver is the first place it piles up in. And so that's where it's just compounding. Your liver can get 2 to 3 times bigger than it is right now. And this crap food is one of the reasons, along with kidney disease, that liver problems are exploding in this country. By the time we hit 2040, my friends, it will be 55.7% of people. Name another condition that's that big. Weight side of it, okay? And some people are careful not to call that a condition, but this is a diseased organ. 55%. That is a massive wake-up call to someone sitting in my seat, because 100 million people already have it. So I want to show you what is literally unlocking for tens of thousands of people to quickly change this, and how they're doing it. Because do you know what the treatment is for fatty liver? There isn't one. This kind of gets me excited because finally, for once, medicine, the medical sick care model, stay the heck away from it. Because if you try to introduce your drugs, Tylenol is the #1 cause of acute liver failure. It destroys the kidneys and the liver. So for the first time, you can't give it one of those pills, Big Pharma. This is the fastest growing condition on the planet, and they're contributing to it in a massive way. Most medications are going to have some kind of side effect on the kidney or the liver. So they're a culprit of this. But the main culprit, the main one is the crap. So I want to show you carbs, sugars, that's the C, rancid oils, that's the R, artificial ingredients, I'm going to give you the top couple. You got to get the heck out of your diet now, and processed proteins. This is the unlock. Now, when it comes to carbs and sugars, I want to change your thinking on this. But first, you eat 164 pounds of refined carbohydrates. Refined is the key word there. Refined carbohydrates. Remember that, all right? 131 pounds of flour in a year. So basically, you will think you're not, but you got to start looking at a lot of these foods like donuts. And the oatmeal is like eating a donut. And the sub sandwich is like eating a donut. And the Coca-Cola is like eating 3.5 donuts. And the Dole fruit can that's got in that syrup, that's 2 donuts. And the Raisin Bran, that's a donut and a half. And the banana even is a donut and a half. So it's this compounding onslaught of sugars going into our body, simple, refined sugars. This is the crap that we've got to be paying attention to. I'm going to show you the simplest way to identify what you should be getting rid of. Now, if you don't, a PET scan is the way that we find diseased cells in the body, such as cancer, and they feed, they thrive, they love this crap. That's why I believe we have so much of cancers and heart disease and diseases going on in our country. That's how they find it. Now, in my research, I found there are 561 names of sugar in the food supply. 561. I thought it was like 60. That was what I wrote in my old book. 561 different names. How the heck are you going to keep up with that? Well, I got to give you a simple, avoid this, add this. This would be a better option, and here's the best. That's the rhythm. Avoid, approved, better, best, okay? What we've got to avoid when it comes to carbs and sugars, if you remove the fiber, we can't eat it, especially right now. Those are processed and simple carbohydrates. These in the red got to go. If it's stripped of its fiber, it's almost as if there is 3 food groups, and they should be fat, protein, and fiber. Whoa, totally different way to look at this thing. Fat, protein, fiber, not carbohydrates. You can have carbohydrates. Is what God intended to go with the carbohydrates still there? In these foods on the right, it's gone. That's what makes them immediately absorbed into the system, broken down in the mouth within 4 seconds, or having to be sent to the liver if they contain fructose, like sucrose, table sugar does, and pounds the liver. We need complex carbohydrates. What does that mean? Well, look at this little image right here. You see, when you strip the fiber off of the carbohydrate, you have a refined grain, for example. And these refined grains are what's spiking your insulin levels. And then do you know what has to take the brunt of this in the blood? Your kidneys do. Fastest way to take pressure off the kidneys and heal them is to get fiber-rich forms of carbs, if we were going to call them still, get actual fiber in and remove the foods that have been stripped of their fiber and remove the foods that have to be fortified to try to get them in their full form. Now, sprouted whole grain is going to be the best version of this. And you can see that we've got high fructose corn syrup, liver balm, soybean oil. We're going to talk about it in a minute. And we've got fake forms of these. And so they contain lots of sugars and lots of rancid oils and lots of sugars that are going to go straight to the kidneys, straight to the liver. So when we pick things like these carbohydrates, we want the whole wheat form, the organic form. It's got the fiber. You could probably flip this over and it has so much fiber in it. But if you flip over some of these forms of bread, not much. Now, there's a couple other criteria that come with that, but that's the basis of we want the fiber included. Fiber, protein, and fats. Now, it will include some fruits and vegetables that for a while, fruits have to be cut out to let the liver and kidneys heal. A lot of fruits are high in fructose. Fructose can only be broken down where? In the liver. So we don't want to tax the liver in that way. So for a period of time, we've got to cut all of these types of sugars out. So a lot of the sweet ones like bananas and mangoes and apples and melons, these got to go for a period of time, okay? If you are going to have any watermelon, grapes, let's eliminate those. If we're gonna have some fruit, lemons and limes, your liver loves it. Kiwi, your metabolism and your kidneys love that. Granny Smith apples, grapefruits, kidneys love those as well. The liver and the kidneys love blueberries and berries. These are okay because they're lower glycemic index, AKA lower fructose. The main thing that your kidney and your liver wants though is a complete sugar fast, a complete carbohydrate fast, and only to add in fiber with your protein and your fats for a period of time. Now, what I've seen through the research is that within a 2-week period of time, if you were to cut all those forms of fructose and those toxic simple sugars out of your system, your liver could get 43.8% better. That's how fast this can go down. Kidneys can change and rejuvenate. Livers can change and rejuvenate. You could donate part of your liver and it can rejuvenate. So the avoid is for at least 2 to 4 weeks. I tell people 90 days. Avoid simple sugars. Avoid the foods on this list. These processed things that we're addicted to, all the forms of sugars, even breads, even grains, even crackers, even fruits, we avoid those, okay? I'll show you how to get simple access to a meal plan that says just eat this, don't eat this. We want fiber, we want protein, we want fats. Now, what is approved then are those forms of different sugars, right? Of different fruits that you can still add in, and then you're enjoying the healthy fats, which we're going to talk about in a minute. You're enjoying clean protein, which we're going to talk about in a minute, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to regenerate and lose weight, or you might put extra damage on your kidney. We don't want that. The better version would be to be very strict with any forms of fructose, okay? And the best is to go as low carbohydrates and low these forms of simple sugars as you can. If you're going to use some type of sweetener during this period of time, avoid the high fructose corn syrup, avoid things like agave nectar, and avoid, I'm going to talk about it in a bit, artificial anythings for sweetening. If you need a little bit of sweetener, you could have a little bit of honey or maple syrup, but during this period of time, I would rather you have monk fruit or stevia as a better and best option to get a little bit of sweetness, but stay away from anything artificial to still suffice. This is the crap we have to remove. This is the masterclass on speed here. We're going quick. Now, the second one is probably worse than the first one. Rancid oils, your liver and kidney hate them. Every cell in your body hates them because every cell in the body has to have fat. And when it doesn't have clean, healthy fat, that breaks down, that congests the cells, that is foreign because it's man-made, your cells can't take on nutrients and they can't get rid of toxicity. So we want to move you from a toxic cell to a healthy cell. When you move from a bunch of toxic cells to a bunch of healthy cells, you get healthy. All organs rise. So what does this mean? Each cell that you're going to rejuvenate and regenerate is going to be made out of fats. Which ones are you putting in? What you're eating now is where your body's going to be 90 days from now. So pick the green and the yellow and the orange, stay the heck away from the red. This is the rule. I would snapshot this really quick. Do not eat these up here. They are rancid. They are deformed. They are very high in linoleic acid. We have a linoleic acid onslaught in our body, and that is what absolutely clogs the cells. So we're avoiding these. The exception is there is a healthy form of sunflower oil called high oleic, which means it's not high linoleic. Sesame's kind of in the middle here, so I kind of avoid it. Olive, avocado, and then your butter / any of these ghee, tallow. I would just kind of lump these all in the same category. So you got, olive, avocado, coconut, and then any of your like butter, ghee, tallow, fat, okay? You need 4 oils in your life. Olive, avocado, coconut, and then like your butter, ghee, tallow, fat. That's the 4. It's that simple. The rest can go. Don't overcomplicate it. It really is that simple. Those are stable. They have double bonds. They don't break down. You can heat them and they don't denature. They do not detox or they do not congest the cells of the body. The problem is if you eat a lot of the reds, what I showed, very powerful study done on rats, and I've showed this a couple of times, but it's crazy powerful, that the more you ate linoleic acids and fed it to rats, the higher the weight gain, and then the higher the breakdown of the tissue of the liver, the duodenum, and the kidneys. These got damaged. So the more linoleic acid that went in, the heavier they got, the faster they got. Interesting though, is you can make a healthy fat bad by frying it. And the frying of an oil is often done in red, peanuts, corns, vegetable oils. They're repeatedly heated, and I've heard multiple times. I heard yesterday that at an amusement park, the donut machine, the dough machine, the fried dough machine, only the oil got changed once a summer. Once a summer. In a restaurant like a fast food joint, once a day. Hundreds of uses. Why does that matter? In just 3 uses of reheating the oil, the fat content of this is the only difference. Just using linoleic acid and then heating it 1 time and heating it 3 times increased their weight in 4 weeks, increased the damage in the tissue in 4 weeks. Literally, the colon grew polyps, the duodenum grew polyps, the liver had damage to its immune protectors. So we're shutting down organs in 4 weeks by eating too much linoleic acid and by heating it. So we stay the heck away from this crap. You do it yourself, or basically you don't do it. These have to go because they are dipped in oils that are repeatedly heated, which is ramping up the congestion of your cells. It will take you 600 days. 600 days. I don't want this to be discouraging. It's just the fact to remove the toxicity of these cells to move them from here. So when's the best time to get started on this? Right now. So you start cutting out linoleic acid and you absolutely avoid repeatedly heated linoleic acid. Your kidneys, your liver, and your digestive tract will quickly thank you. So we avoid linoleic acid, we avoid repeatedly heated acids, we start putting in approved fats. What were the 4? Coconut, olive, avocado, and then there's the butter, ghee, fat, lard, okay? You're gonna ask about a bunch of other questions, just stop it. Just stick with those 4. Make it simple on yourself. These are going to be the better forms. I really like butter and ghee and tallow and fat because it's so stable and it's so from nature, even above those nut oils of olive, avocado, and coconut. But those are your approved better best. Stay away from linoleic acid. Let's keep cutting the crap. This is a masterclass in 20 minutes or less. Artificial ingredients. These things have to go. They're so toxic to our system. The main 2 I want you to focus on, these are so prevalent and some of the highest ones in all of the food supply. Here's your 2. I could talk about a lot of them. I went through 10,000 of them, but these are the 2 you got to watch out for. They're in so many different things. Number 1 is sucralose and artificial sweeteners. Sucralose is the most prevalent of them. Putting sucralose in your body, which is a chemical compound that goes through 17 different interactions to form this chemical, directly impacts your appetite. It makes you eat more, which makes you fatter faster. It destroys and damages the pancreas. It makes you insulin resistant. It destroys the gut microbiome. It damages the protectors of the liver, and it adds more fat cells. Sucralose, artificial sweeteners are horrible for your kidneys and your liver. They do not like them. They have to isolate them. You think you're doing yourself a favor by getting the sweetness? This is in your supplements. This is in your energy drinks. This is in anything that is artificially sweetened or says no sugar in it. If it says no sugar, you better be looking for sucralose. You better be looking for things like ACE-K, sulfamine phosphate, sulfamine potassium. ACE-K, there we go. And you should also be looking for any kind of Splenda, Sweet and Low, aspartame. These things have to go. This is one of the worst for the kidneys. And the other one that's getting banner level news right now, artificial sweeteners and artificial dyes. One of them finally just got eliminated. And it's just frontline news. I got interviewed recently by Fox News to talk about some of these foods and what foods we can replace with them. Red number 3, the artificial dye banned by the FDA because it creates cancer. It's still in all of these different foods. It's in your mashed potatoes. It's in your Nesquik, your yellow rice. It's in Pop-Tarts. It's in canned food mixes and jelly beans, fruit by the foots, cough syrups, gummies, supplements. It's in so many different things. What makes me compassionate over this is it's not banned until 2027. If it causes cancer and it needs to come out, get it out now. Why would they not? Because those companies are paying the powers that be to run through their inventory first, give them time to change the formula while we continue to consume this stuff because not enough people know about it. This is directly linked to cancers, especially when we look at the health of the kidneys, and the liver has to deal with this. So any kind of artificial dyes, artificial colorings, they've got to go. Artificial sweeteners, artificial colorings, no-goes. And then look for your rancid forms of oil, anything that doesn't say coconut oil, olive oil, or avocado oil, then we got to get it out. We got to cut it down. That's what's leading to all this crap. Those are the artificial ingredients that must go. Finally, your kidneys need clean protein. They can still handle 20, 30 grams per meal of actual protein, not meat, but actual protein. Those are going to be fine. You need to clean up the sugars, clean up the fats. That your kidneys are going to thank you so much. But the kidneys and liver do not do well when there's lots of extra processed protein with hormones and antibiotics. So your cows need to roam free in the grass, not stand in their own you know what, because it changes them. If they just stand there and they don't eat grass, they're going to eat grain. And they're going to take in lots of linoleic acid, lots of glyphosate. They're going to need a lot of hormones. They're going to need a lot of antibiotics. And you can just look at the meat and tell the difference. Grass-fed, grain-fed. Fatty, loss of nutrients. Healthy, no inflammation. That's the difference. The same thing applies to chickens. When they're raised like this, I used to work in a facility like this. I used to catch these things. Man, that was a dirty job. But when you raise them like this and feed them arsenic and load them full of antibiotics and growth hormone, and you don't let them roam in the pasture, there's a difference in the eggs. Regular eggs, loss of B vitamins, loss of choline, which is highly, highly needed by the liver. It's a huge nutrient that the liver loves. They look like this instead of a bright yellow color when they're pasture raised. When fish are raised in a pen and fed pellets, they become way more toxic in their tissues as opposed to ones in the wild. And so there's fatty, farm-raised, discolored meat as opposed to wild-caught, way more lean and naturally pink because of their diet. The dairy products show up when there is a grass-fed cow versus one that is raised in a pen, or margarine, which is synthetically colored to try to look like this goodness that comes straight from the cow. Things like margarine are extremely toxic forms of trying to make meat-made products. Lots of meat alternatives and cheeses, butters, meat patties have so many processed chemicals in them. You have to be very, very, very leery, and they often contain these rancid oils. Margarine is made with a disgusting process, including bleaching, including hydrogen gas, including having to put in artificial dyes, colorings, because it looks nothing like, and it is nothing like actual butter. So these are the chemicals that have to be avoided. So avoid commercial meat and meat products. Avoid non-organic, genetically modified meat replacement products. What's approved is you want to at least have no antibiotics and no hormones. And what would be even better and best is if you could actually get wild caught fish. If you could actually get pasture raised chicken and chicken products. If you could get grass-fed beef. And if they can be organic, even better, because then their diet is really good. Now, that was a lot to cover very quickly. I wrote a book on the topic. You can get it with the link below. I'll send you a free copy to sum up how to follow these conditions, how to follow these oversights, regardless of the diet type, carnivore, vegetarian, or whatever it is you're choosing to do. You can't have lots of crap in your diet. Now, to save the liver, to save the kidney as fast as possible, here is the key study. 43.8% reduction in the fat in the liver. This is also going to have a massive impact on the kidneys. When you cut this crap, you are going to begin to release fat. That's a good thing, Dr. Livinggood, right? Yes, but also no. When you look at the amount of toxins that are going to be released because they're stored in that fat, there's a 260% increase in blood toxin release when you lose weight. So those people taking Ozempic and artificial means of injection are losing weight, but they're loading up the body with a bunch of toxins, let alone what GLP-1 inhibitors already do to the kidney, pancreas, and the liver. Now they got all this toxicity on top of it. So your liver is stressed and strained. You don't fix the crap. You inject a drug and you release a bunch of toxins. This is not going to go well for people that try to cut corners. You don't have to cut corners. You just need to cut the crap. When you do, you're going to release toxins. So what better be working well? Our kidneys and our liver. There's a detox pathway that this liver has to, phase 1, isolate those. Phase 2, bind them to materials that can help phase 3, get them out of your body through your bile, gallbladder, kidneys, stool, skin, sweat, and urine. These are your filters. Help them out. This liver detoxification pathway needs to be supported. My favorite supporters are milk thistle, NAC, glutamine, lysine, cysteine, cruciferous vegetables, B vitamins, and then anything that takes away antioxidants. This is isolating the oxidation inside of our body. Those are what are required, those nutrients, to go from phase 1 to phase 2. To support the gall, you need choline. We also need bile salts, and we need digestive enzymes to break the food down. These are crucial to isolate the toxicities and the crap of alcohol, food additives that I talked about, food, insecticides and herbicides, the end products of these things, let alone microorganisms that are destroying our kidney and destroying our livers. You can do this, you can support these phases, and you can eat like this by simply cutting the crap. And when that happens, this happens. The skeptical, non-participating husband goes from high liver enzyme levels and damage to the liver, and 18 days later, he's in a safe zone. This is literally from what I just took tens of thousands of people through this protocol. Here's the meal plan. Here's the nutrients to support the liver. Here's nutrients to support the kidney. Go. 18 days later, clean liver. This is how fast you can rejuvenate the kidneys, the liver. They desperately need your help. But you got to put the right things in them, and it starts with taking the wrong foods out. To get a part of that, join the liver cleanse below. There's a link for it. You'll be put into a private group, get the coaching, get the meal plan, and we'll show you exactly the nutrients to put in to support that liver so it can accelerate that weight loss. If you want to add some simple drinks to that, I also made a video as a next step. Check that out to heal the liver and accelerate weight loss. That's the next step. We can do better. We can build health. We can experience real health. I get compassionate about it, a little pissed off, but take this video and give someone a 12-hour masterclass in just 20 minutes. Pass it along, help the world. They desperately need it in their livers and their kidneys. There you go, peeps.